Most of us have been there. We set a massive new goal, commit to a strict daily routine, and for the first few weeks, the energy is high. But statistically, the vast majority of these ambitious new habits don't survive past day 60. They wither out before they ever really take root. Systemic errors in how we measure our return on investment drive these failures. While it is easy to blame a lack of willpower when we abandon a budget, the issue is usually structural rather than personal. This graph illustrates the core conflict between our biological reality and how we think progress should look. When we start putting in the work, we expect a steep, immediate line of improvement. We put in an hour of effort today and demand to see an hour's worth of visible results tomorrow. Actual progress stays flat for a long time. You put in the hours and nothing changes. In this massive gap between what we expect and what we see, a space called the quitting zone, most people get frustrated and walk away. Surviving this long stretch of zero visible progress requires abandoning the outcome-obsessed mindsets promoted by mainstream self-help. Culture focuses our attention on the prize. By glorifying wealth, fitness transformations, and job titles, we are trained to treat the finish line as the only viable target. But human biology and compound interest ignore our preferred schedules. Working out for 2 weeks leaves the mirror unchanged. Consistently saving $50 a week for a month still leaves you miles away from financial freedom. Tying your motivation to these delayed external markers creates extreme emotional volatility. This psychological trap makes quitting feel inevitable the moment the visible payoff stalls. The late author and entrepreneur Jim Rohn spent decades analyzing this exact problem. He realized that the real reward of any long-term pursuit is never the finish line itself. Identity transformation requires a structural detachment from uncontrollable outcomes. To change who you are, you must become obsessed with the daily work. This comparison table breaks down a strategic showdown between the two primary ways we structure our goals. The outcome-dependent system on the left runs on high volatility. It requires constant external validation to maintain momentum. Impatience is the fatal flaw here. Trading long-term potential for a short-term hit of encouragement causes the system to crash the moment results fail to show up on your expected schedule. The process-dependent system on the right relies on low volatility inputs. It ignores the scoreboard and prioritizes the daily routine. Prioritizing inputs allows you to manufacture your own momentum. You can find complete satisfaction in the act of showing up, independent of external metrics. While one mindset looks at the friction of the work and wishes it were easier, the other mindset embraces the blisters and actively wishes to become better at the climb. Shifting to this process-dependent framework is the only way to stop trying to escape the daily grind and actually begin to master it. A steady rhythm of repeated daily inputs proves true transformation far more effectively than occasional bursts of effort. Rohn referred to this as invisible discipline. These are the quiet choices made when there is no audience, no applause, and no immediate payoff to keep you going. Every time you execute an invisible discipline, like waking up on time or finishing a difficult task, you cast a vote for your future self and reinforce your internal foundation. Writers succeed by fixating on the daily execution of a single page rather than the weight of a finished book. Focusing on the heavy burden of a final product only leads to paralysis. True self-confidence is built through the undeniable, stacked evidence of keeping promises to yourself. It cannot be manifested out of thin air. The ultimate ROI of discipline is the permanent identity you forge. The external product you create is merely evidence of who you have become. Avoiding the effort of a daily habit does not mean you avoid pain. Every action carries a cost. This quadrant chart maps the true cost of our choices, weighing the two inescapable types of pain every individual must choose between. The first option is the pain of discipline, involving embracing the friction of the daily process. Discipline requires payment immediately. However, the daily burden of that effort is incredibly light. It weighs ounces. The alternative is the pain of regret, incurred when you skip the necessary process and demand unearned rewards. Regret delays the payment, but when the bill comes due later, the emotional burden of missed potential is crushing. It weighs tons. Carrying the ounces of effort today is the only way to mathematically eliminate the tons of regret tomorrow. Bearing this daily weight builds the robust character required to survive the long delay before results appear. Many people operate under the arrival fallacy, the mistaken belief that lasting fulfillment arrives the moment a bank account hits a certain number or a trophy is won. This flow chart provides a protocol for when visible progress flatlines. Tying emotions to the outcome guarantees disappointment. Lack of visual evidence leads to abandonment. Resilience comes from mastering the daily reps, creating the persistence necessary for unshakable consistency. Detaching satisfaction from the outcome gives you total operational control. You govern the inputs, even when you cannot govern the market or the timeline. The act of mastering the work itself dynamically generates fulfillment. It does not wait for you at the end of the road. Ambitious beginners should ignore the external sprout and focus on the daily watering. If you are a frustrated optimizer and tracking outcomes is causing burnout, change the metric immediately. Score yourself strictly on the consistency of your daily inputs. If you are only willing to invest effort where immediate returns are guaranteed, the realm of compounding habits is not for you. Money can vanish and titles fade. While visible results are inherently fragile, the character built through discipline is permanent. Relentlessly executing the invisible daily process causes visible results to eventually sneak up and chase you. The journey's greatest ROI is the person you become to earn the finish line. The trophy you collect is just the byproduct.